Adolf Eichmann. Adolf Eichmann was a German-Austrian official of the Nazi Party, an officer of the SS, and one of the major organizers of the Holocaust. He participated in the January 1942 Wannsee Conference, at which the implementation of the genocidal final solution to the Jewish question was planned. Following this, he was tasked by Reinhard Heydrich with facilitating and managing the logistics involved in the mass deportation of millions of Jews to the Nazi ghettos and Nazi extermination camps across German-occupied Europe. He was captured and detained by the Allies in 1945, but escaped and eventually settled in Argentina. In May 1960, he was abducted by Mossad, the National Intelligence Agency of Israel. Eichmann stood trial with the Supreme Court of Israel. The highly publicized Eichmann trial resulted in his conviction in Jerusalem, following which he was executed by hanging in 1962. Adolf Eichmann, the eldest of 5 children, was born in 1906 to a Calvinist Protestant family in Solingen, Germany. His parents were Adolf Karl Eichmann, a bookkeeper, and Maria, a housewife. After doing poorly in school, Eichmann briefly worked for his father's mining company in Austria, where the family had moved in 1914. He worked as a traveling oil salesman beginning in 1927 and joined both the Nazi Party and the SS in 1932. He returned to Germany in 1933, where he joined the security service. There he was appointed head of the department responsible for Jewish affairs, especially immigration, which the Nazis encouraged through violence and economic pressure. After the outbreak of the Second World War in September 1939, Eichmann and his staff arranged for Jews to be concentrated in ghettos in major cities with the expectation that they would be transported either further east or overseas. Within weeks of the invasion of Poland, on the 1st of September 1939, Nazi policy toward the Jews changed from voluntary immigration to forced deportation. The Nazis began the invasion of the Soviet Union on the 22nd of June 1941, and their Jewish policy changed from coerced immigration to extermination. To coordinate planning for the genocide, Eichmann's superior, Reinhard Heydrich, hosted the regime's administrative leaders at the Wannsee Conference on the 20th of January 1942. Eichmann collected information for him, attended the conference, and prepared the minutes. Eichmann and his staff became responsible for Jewish deportations to extermination camps, where the victims were gassed. After Germany occupied Hungary in March 1944, Eichmann oversaw the deportation of much of the Jewish population. Most of the victims were sent to Auschwitz concentration camp, where about 70% were murdered upon arrival. At the end of the war, Eichmann was captured by US forces and spent time in several camps for SS officers, using forged papers that identified him as Otto Eichmann. He escaped from a work detail at Cham, Germany, when he realized that his identity had been discovered. He obtained new identity papers with the name of Otto Henninger and relocated frequently over the next several months, moving to Lüneburg Heath. He found work in a forestry industry and later leased a small plot of land in Altensalzkes, where he lived until 1950. In 1948, Eichmann obtained a landing permit for Argentina and false identification under the name Ricardo Kelment through an organization directed by Bishop Alois Hudal, an Austrian cleric and Nazi sympathizer, then residing in Italy. These documents enabled him to obtain an International Committee of the Red Cross humanitarian passport and the remaining entry permits in 1950 that would allow immigration to Argentina. Several survivors of the Holocaust, among them Jewish Nazi hunter Simon Wiesenthal, dedicated themselves to finding Eichmann and other Nazis. Wiesenthal learned from a letter shown to him in 1953 that Eichmann had been seen in Buenos Aires. Lothar Hermann, a Jewish German who had immigrated to Argentina in 1938, was also instrumental in exposing Eichmann's identity. Israel Prime Minister David Ben-Gurion made the decision that Eichmann should be captured and brought to Israel for trial. Mossad operative Rafi Eden was named the leader of the 8-man team, most of whom were Shin Bet agents. The team captured Eichmann on the 11th of May 1960 near his home in Buenos Aires. It was planned that Eichmann was taken to Israel by plane. The plane took off for Israel. They arrived in Israel on the 22nd of May. Eichmann's trial before a special tribunal of the Jerusalem District Court began on the 11th of April 1961. The legal basis of the charges against Eichmann was the 1950 Nazi and the Nazi collaborators law, under which he was indicted on 15 criminal charges, including crimes against humanity, war crimes, crimes against the Jewish people, and membership in a criminal organization. The trial was presided over by 3 judges, Moshe Landau, Benjamin Halevi, and Yitzhak Rava. The chief prosecutor was Israel Attorney General Gideon Hassner, assisted by Deputy Attorney General Gabriel Bach and Tel Aviv District Attorney Yaakov Barer. The defense team consists of German lawyer Robert Seratius, legal assistant Dider Wechtenburg, and Eichmann himself. The Israel government arranged for the trial to have prominent media coverage. Capital Cities Broadcasting Corporation of the United States obtained exclusive rights to videotape the proceedings of television broadcast. Many major newspapers from all over the globe sent reports and published front-page coverage of the story. The trial was held at Beit Ham, an auditorium in central Jerusalem. Eichmann sat inside a bulletproof glass booth to protect him from assassination attempts. The building was modified to allow journalists to watch the trial on closed-circuit television, and 750 seats were available in the auditorium itself. The prosecution case was presented over the course of 56 days, involving hundreds of documents and 112 witnesses, that many of them were Holocaust survivors. Hassner ignored police recommendations to call only 30 witnesses. Only 14 of the witnesses called had seen Eichmann during the war. Hassner's intention was to not only demonstrate Eichmann's guilt, but to present material about the entire Holocaust. Eichmann was convicted on 15 counts of crimes against humanity, war crimes, crimes against the Jewish people, and membership in a criminal organization. The judges declared him not guilty of personally killing anyone, and not guilty of overseeing and controlling the activities of the Einsatzgruppen. He was deemed responsible for the dreadful conditions on board the deportation trains and for obtaining Jews to fill those trains. In addition to being found guilty of crimes against Jews, he was convicted for crimes against Poles, Slovenes, and Roma. Moreover, Eichmann was found guilty of membership in 3 organizations that had been declared criminal at the Nuremberg trials: the Gestapo, the SD, and the SS. When considering the sentence, the judges concluded that Eichmann had not merely been following orders, but believed in the Nazi cause wholeheartedly and had been a key perpetrator of the genocide. Eichmann was hanged at a prison in Ramla. The hanging took place on the 1st of June 1962. His last words were reported to be, "Long live Germany, long live Argentina, long live Austria." Within hours, Eichmann's body had been cremated and his ashes scattered in the Mediterranean Sea, outside Israel territorial waters, by an Israel Navy patrol boat. Many thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe my channel and like and share this video.